And we are live. Jenni P back with another episode of Men Who Uphold Preeminent Women in this edition of House of Preeminence, which is devoted to the astonishing power of gratitude and reinventing yourself. Now, today's guest, I'm going to let him tell his story. I have recently met him and we are kind of bonded in the sense that we are both very, very attached to creating big dreams, even when you think that the poop is hitting the fan. And he is on an ascendant in PR and media. It is my very great pleasure to welcome Mark Spooler. Welcome, Mark.
Hi, Jenny. Thank you so much for inviting me to be featured on your amazing show in your magazine. I'm looking forward to a great conversation with you.
So, Mark, you have kind of so impressed me. I'm going to let you tell your story and tell our listeners your background, but you could so easily have ended up as a statistic. In fact, you almost did end up as a statistic. And instead, you're out there in a really quite depressing part of the UK and a slightly troubled part of the UK. Dudley's not kind of the glamour capital of the world. And yet you are right in the middle of building yourself a fabulous reputation as a PR specialist with celebrity clients. So let's go back to your background and the story of where you came from. Let's just go right back to that.
Yes. So I was always a guy at school that got bullied about the way I looked, also about my sexuality at primary school before I knew my own sexuality. So on a daily basis, I would get called gay, puff, queer, big chin, big ears. That led to me having really low self-esteem and low self-confidence. So I purposely left a primary school and went to a secondary school that no one from primary school was going to. And that was great at first, Jenny. I didn't get bullied, but that didn't last long. Only the bullying was a lot worse. I remember one day someone kicked me in my back for no reason, and I had to run the 3 miles home. So the bullying at secondary school was quite bad, and it was on a daily basis. I left school with a really bad education. I always joke, if you put my GCSE results together, they would spell the word fudge. But on a serious note, I left school at the age of 15, really bad education, and I started drug taking. And it started with soft drugs to start with, things like speed and weed. I did start hairdressing, Jenny, as a hairdresser, and I was working for one of the biggest name hairdressers in the UK. He was on GMTV television. He had his own shampoo range in Boots. So I was used to dealing with celebrities because they used to come into the Birmingham city centre salon. That was great. It built my confidence. I learned how to deal with the public, customer service, how to speak better. But my drug taking got a lot worse because I started the party lifestyle. So I would go out and the drugs started to get harder, things like ecstasy. And by the age of 21, my life had spiraled out of control and I was addicted to crack cocaine and heroin. I went out on a party night out with friends, having the time of my life 1 minute, and the next minute I woke up in hospital. I just collapsed and died from drug use. bruises all up my arms where adrenaline had been pumped into me, a shaven chest where shock pads had been used on me to bring me back to life. Now, Jenny, you would have thought that was a wake-up call. I had just been given a second chance at life. Because I had no direction for my future, very low self-esteem, I went straight back out partying and carried on taking drugs the same day that I had died. I'd still got all the sticky pads on my chest from the hospital. Now, a few days after that, my mum caught me in my bedroom taking crack cocaine. She grabbed the crack pipe off me, ran outside with it, chucked it down the drain, and she did one of the best things she could have ever have done for me, and that was to chuck me out of the family home. It really is true. People either lift you up or they drag you down. Your associations are so, so important. The people that you surround yourself with. I moved away from all the people that were dragging me down, and it was a slow road to recovery.
And you said that is so dramatic, and you told me that you decided to take your own recovery and your own you said, use the word cold turkey, yet you decided to take your own way back to life completely in hand. Just tell us about that.
So I didn't see a doctor. I used the power of my mind. I give up crack and heroin straight away just from using the power of the thought. I'd like to mention there's nothing wrong with seeking medical assistance. In fact, I do advise that because they are strong drugs to kick. But I did it from the power of my mind. I cold turkeyed. I went through the hot and cold shivers. It wasn't an instant. It wasn't an instant recovery, Jenny. I carried on taking softer drugs for a fair few years after that. Carried on partying, but I did give up the strong drugs like crack and heroin using the power of my mind. At the age of 21, I also read my first Law of Attraction book before The Secret movie or The Secret book ever was launched. It was years before that. And I did think to myself, there's something in the way that you use your mind. There is something in the power of positive thought. And I started to slowly use my mind in a better way, thinking more positive, working on my belief systems, which over time did lead to better choices, which helped me to get to where I am today.
That is incredible. So at that time so you said it wasn't an instant thing, but nevertheless, something was obviously kicking in at that time to tell you out of all of that period of low self-esteem, what was going on inside? You know, were you kind of thinking, I know there's something better for me, I know I can do this, or was it a reaction to I just have to stop this? Is what was the kind of thought process?
All through my addiction, deep down, I always had in my mind, I'm going to be someone. I feel like I can do something. I don't know what, but I know deep down that I am better than the reality I am in now.
Right.
But then at the same time, it was conflicting emotions of low self-esteem, low self-confidence, stress, anxiety, depression. So even though I knew I could be someone, I was still using softer drugs to forget who I was, to get more confidence. in myself, to forget some of my problems. But I did always have that belief that I will be someone and I can do something with my life. I carried on working all through my addiction. I wasn't an addict that ever went out pinching. That was not me. I carried on working all through my addiction. And by the age of 30, Jenny, I had had enough of working for other people, earning lots of money for them and not earning enough money for myself. So I made another big life change moment, and I left a paid job, having a mortgage, and I set up as a freelance hairdresser. And that was the start of my entrepreneurship journey.
Amazing. Just amazing. So fast forward, what was then the change from hairdressing into media and PR?
So it's been a longer journey than I first imagined, but I reckon that is the same for most entrepreneurs out there. We see online so much instant success, overnight success. And it's not always like that. I believe you can achieve anything you want, but sometimes it just takes time and dedication. So I was offered an opportunity in network marketing, Jenny, and I said yes and joined a network marketing company. This was where my life started to change because I was involved in personal development. They learnt me the power of building a network, business skills, branding, sales, how to sell a product or a service. And some of these skills I use today. This was really a life-changing moment for me. But 2 years into network marketing, I used to watch the speakers on stages sharing their message, sharing their stories. And I realised I wasn't following my heart and my passion. I was watching the speakers and I thought, I want to be a speaker. I want to share my story to inspire others. So again, I left network marketing. I closed one door and I jumped in deep end to be a speaker. I will say I had no skills in public speaking, and it was something, an industry I had no knowledge of, but I just jumped in the deep end to learn it. I hired a business coach. I joined clubs on public speaking. And over time, I started appearing on radio. One of my first radio interviews sharing my story was BBC Radio. I was interviewed on Sky Television, lots of podcasts. And within this time, I had spoken all over the UK. I hadn't monetized my business at this moment, but I was getting the exposure, getting the experience. So I spoke all over the UK. I released my first book. Then I released my second book, Step Into Your Brilliance, which became a #1 bestseller in the UK, USA and Canada. And that was an entrepreneurship guide for those that would like to speak using the power of positive storytelling and social media to position themselves as an expert. That became a #1 bestseller. I also spoke on the same stage as Jack Canfield in Toronto, which was a big milestone moment in my journey. And I was then interviewed on a radio show and they asked me if I would be a co-host. So it really is true. Featuring in publications and on radio can lead to opportunities, because it went from me being a guest to them being a co-host to an audience of 3 million on FM radio in Atlanta, Kentucky, Ohio, to an audience of 3 million. That was the start of me becoming a press and media expert. It's been such a great journey, Jenny. We're doing some work together, which is amazing. I have had clients that are Hollywood actors, some of the biggest names in personal development. I've interviewed and published many stars of the really successful Secret movie. And that is where I'm at today. I'm working with some really, really great clients, and I've really started to build a name for myself in media and PR, which I'm so, so passionate about.
And you still have that story to share with young people, because I'm sure that so many young adults can relate to that, you know, to that journey of leave, you know, transitioning with low self-esteem. So many people are bullied. So you have such a beautiful inspirational story that you're continuing to share, with your work and through the media, which is just fabulous. So what's next on the Mark Spooler radar as you as you continue to expand and blossom, and what's next on the radar?
So just going back to your comment, Jenny, sharing my story is something I'm very, very passionate about. I speak in schools. I've recently been booked by Her Majesty's Prison. It got cancelled due to the pandemic, but that will be going ahead next year. I believe no matter of your past or present circumstances, anyone can create a better future reality. And I feel it's my duty to inspire others, because who would have thought from my past I could have changed my life? And I want to show people with hard work, with making better choices, with strong positive belief systems and repetition, any future reality can be created. And that's why it's so important for me, especially in these depressing times, to show people there's always hope at the end of the tunnel. Next for me, Jenny, it's quite unbelievable, some of the things I am quite shocked, some of the things that are manifesting in my own life. I am just supporting a big author collaboration with some huge, huge names. So I'm doing some press coverage now for Jack Canfield, Bob Proctor, Christy Whitman, who are all part of a new book called Clickety Clack for Keith Leon. That's one big, huge media collaboration that I'm working on right now. I've just been given a great opportunity, which I'm so excited about, for Craig Shelley Beverly Hills, which is luxury watches. So I'm brand ambassador to their product now. So I've been given an invitation next year to Las Vegas, Beverly Hills. I'm also being introduced to some high profile celebrities and names in business, which I'm very, very excited about, Jenny. Also next year, I'm a platinum guest for the Grant Cardone event with Kevin Hart. So I get lunch with Grant Cardone, Kevin Hart, also photos, which I'm very excited about. I have big dreams, Jenny. I'm nowhere near where I aim to be. I would like my own television show. That's a big goal of mine. In my own visualizations, I see myself on billboards, in big premium magazines, which I'm featuring in your magazine, which I'm really excited about. I'd like to give back more. For me, charity is very important, and the more successful and high profile I get, the more and more I will always give back, because for me, it's always about giving back. But I'm just passionate, as always, about getting my clients media coverage that they deserve, getting them seen, heard and noticed with worldwide digital media to become known globally.
Amazing. I actually feel quite emotional.
Thank you.
You're such an inspiration. I just um we are both such fans and advocates of the law of attraction and quantum physics. This is kind of a sharing thing, a kind of open question. Like, wouldn't it be amazing if this kind of information was given to children earlier in their lives, where they know, I mean, like, put into mainstream education, where the young people really know the science and understand the science of their thoughts and their mind and how it works with the universe, and the choices and consequences that, I mean, what kind of a world would we live in if people had that much power, that we taught our young generations this stuff, or we didn't have to wait until we get to crises and catastrophes in our life, until we look around and try and find answers. I mean, imagine what had happened if you hadn't found a law of attraction book and realized, that you could come out of victimhood and take back your power. I mean, it just doesn't bear thinking about. So it means that your message and my message and the work that we're doing is so exponential in the possibility that we can reach people who might never have these messages and never have this information. So I mean, goodness gracious, congratulations on your journey. Congratulations on your dreams. I know you're absolutely going to nail those. I have no doubt about it, and I hope that I'm going to be right there alongside you to see that. So you invite me to some events. So is there anything else that you would like to say? One thing I'm going to say is that in this edition marks the first of a regular feature with Mark Spooler in the House of Preeminence magazine as a media expert, as a PR expert. He's always watching the entrepreneurs who are rising. So we are now actually today baptizing this new section in the magazine called Preeminence Rising, where Mark Spooler is going to introduce us through his podcast with links to his websites and his article sites of the entrepreneurs that you and I should be watching for now, and where the trends are, where the tendencies are, what's happening in the world. So this is like current affairs, folks. This is current affairs. So I'm absolutely overjoyed to be sharing your story at the beginning of this collaboration.
It's a real honour to me, Jenny, to be featured monthly in the amazing House of Preeminence magazine. We have mutual friends who we both love dearly. I am so glad to be collaborating with you, and that is an honour to me, and I'm really looking forward to adding value to your readers. I would just like to go back on what you were mentioning regarding all of my journey and the law of attraction and being taught in schools. Now, that's why I like going into schools, because I can give them a little glimpse of how your thoughts can control your future reality. I think you are so right, Jenny. If I had have had all of these little tasters of the law of attraction, the power of thought, the science behind quantum physics, etc., etc., it would have just given me so much hope as a child, thinking, wow, we can create all of this from our mind. I think the school system does need these kind of things in it, because some of the things children get taught, it's not really relevant to the modern day world. Social media, which is so much more, you can get anything from social media. Some of the things kids are taught are not relevant anymore, Jenny. If only they would have teach some of the science behind the mind, consciousness, law of attraction, and quantum physics. Some of these things, Jenny, that they are scientifically proven that everything is connected. There's a field of energy, of information, a big consciousness, and all of this, it is scientifically proven. Science and spirituality have come back together and shown us that thoughts do create our reality. And I do think this is really important in education, because as a child, it would have made me think, wow, we can do this. And this isn't given to our schools. They give you calculations and things that are really not relevant. So I think that is a great point, that it should be taught in schools. And if only that was open to me. I read The Secret movie, I had The Secret movie and The Secret book many years before my Law of Attraction book. Once The Secret movie, I was like, wow, and I really started to step up the Law of Attraction. Fast forward to today, I am working with names like Marie Diamond, Dennis Waitley, Dr. Joe Vitale, Dr. John D. Martini. These are all stars of The Secret movie. Who would have thought that 21-year-old guy who was a drug addict, who had just collapsed and died, who just started the Law of Attraction, all of a sudden has done media coverage for most of the original cast of The Secret movie. I have manifested that from the power of my thought. I really think the education system should be changed, and this should be given to children. Thank you, Jenny. I have really enjoyed having a conversation with you today.
Well, we are definitely not just on the same page, we're writing new pages together. So yes, we're doing this work together. So it's been an honor, and we're going to keep sharing each other's journeys and keep supporting each other. And we also have so many resources between the magazine and your services. There is so much we've got all the links for people to find out where to get hold of you, and social media. So this is kind of a celebration of our collaboration, and doing one-on-one makes three.
Which I love that.
So thank you so much. Onwards and upwards. Imwa.
Thank you so much, everyone, for listening. Thank you, everyone, for reading. Jenny, thank you for your time today. I thoroughly enjoyed our conversation and looking forward to what we will achieve together.